A ver, que puede ser pues cualquier cosa lo único que diga, pero habrá que ver. No sé si sea antepenúltima parte, pero por ahí.
Welcome to Identify Luck for Mario Party Star Rush. It is here we will learn how to best improve our odds of winning at the only Mario Party game where everyone can be a bunch of toads taking their turns at the same time.
Eso es lo que estaba pensando.
Madness! For the sake of this entry, we'll be covering Toad Scramble, Balloon Bash, and Cointhalon. Let's toad up and get into the bonus stars, which can only be found in Toad Scramble and Balloon Bash. In Toad Scramble, they grant 5 coins, whereas in Balloon Bash, they grant a whole star. Their names are slightly different between modes because of this, so I'll just say bonus for less confusion. 3 out of 8 of them will show up at random, and some bonuses only show up in certain modes. The ones that show up in both are the Slowpoke bonus, Sightseer bonus, Item bonus, Balloon bonus, Duel bonus, and Champion bonus, our minigame star for this title. Toad Scramble exclusives are the Wanderer bonus and Loner bonus, whereas Balloon Bash exclusives are the Anti-Items bonus and Almost bonus.
Me hace esta. ¿Y esta qué es? Explorador.
Toad Scramble also has the Lucky Ally bonus, which will always show up after the 3 bonuses are granted, where a random ally from everyone's collection is selected and the player gets 5 coins. However, no bonuses, including the Lucky Ally, occur on World Zero boards. The
Eso es práctica. Ese mundo es para práctica.
5 coin bonuses these give in Toad Scramble may sound silly at first, but at the end of a game, each 10 of your coins will get converted into a star.
Cada 10 molestos de estrellas, que más molestos con más estrellas.
So think of these as like half bonus stars.
Y a
In a
mitad.
weird way. Multiple players can win without any tiebreaker dice block rolls. Friendship wins. Balloon Bash's ending results are a bit more familiar with the typical bonus star awards that we've seen from previous games. The Slowpoke bonus is awarded to whoever moved the fewest spaces, and the Sightseer bonus is awarded to whoever moved the most
Lo
spaces.
opuesto.
There is no reason to aim for the Slowpoke bonus considering that both of these bonuses can show up in the same game. Moving not near but far is much more preferred almost all the time. Always aim for the Sightseer. The item bonus is awarded to whoever collected, not used, collected the most items throughout the course of the game. Doesn't matter how many you have at the end, just matters how much you've gotten overall. Quite a big change from previous entries. Question mark spaces, Shy Guy shops, and receiving an item for being in last place all count towards this bonus. You'll already aim for items a lot on the boards, so this is a bonus that'll likely be received naturally, but the main difference is that you don't have to feel pressure to use items towards this bonus like you did in previous titles.
Que no tengas que usar objetos es algo que añade más estrategia. Eso consigo ya cuenta.
The balloon bonus is awarded to whoever popped the most coin balloons or dual balloons in Toad Scramble, or just coin balloons in Balloon Bash, since dual balloons don't show up there. The dual balloons are especially worth going out of your way for to earn allies, but this bonus isn't worth detouring for a coin balloon in Toad Scramble mode due to the low payout. The dual bonus is awarded to whoever won the most allied duels, only found in Toad Scramble, or coin duels, only found in Balloon Bash respectively. These both occur either by landing on the same space as another player, or by using a dual glove or coin glove respectively on another player. When this happens, a random, what I like to call mini game gets played between the players. The first possible one is a dice block roll-off where everyone rolls and whoever rolls higher wins. The second one has a bunch of cards face down where whoever selects the highest number card wins. The third one has a 5-second timer that begins and hides itself, where whoever stops their timer closest to 5 seconds wins. This means that 2 out of 3 or 66% of the time these mini games will come down to luck.
Y el entonces está predeterminado por alguna razón.
So I would not rely on going for this bonus. The champion bonus is awarded to whoever won the most minigames. This does include boss minigames, so don't slack on any of them. Not like you should have been slacking before, because they're really important. Now let's cover bonuses only found in Toad Scramble. The loner bonus is awarded to whoever spent the most time without any ally characters. This is, without a doubt, a bonus you should never go for. Allies are an extremely pivotal aspect of Toad Scramble,
Si lo consigues, por suerte
and
principal.
are not worth the possibility of gaining a measly 5 coins over. Next, the Wanderer bonus is awarded to whoever landed on the fewest boss spaces. Keep in mind that landing on a single boss space will grant you 5 coins, which is already what these bonuses are worth. This is one of those bonuses you do not want to aim for, but should be appreciative if you get by accident. Now let's see what bonuses that Balloon Bash has to offer. The anti-item star is awarded to whoever collected the least number of items throughout the game. Similar logic to the loner bonus, albeit not as a big deal. Items are far too useful to skip out on them for a chance at gaining 5 coins from this bonus, so I wouldn't worry about it. The almost star is awarded to whoever collected the fewest star balloons. This is the pity bonus out of pity bonuses.
Y te hay, no hay motivo para ir por ese bonus.
I do not need to tell you why this would be a dumb one to go for. Due to the sheer number of bonuses in play for both modes, the luck-based bonuses, and some of them contradicting each other, relying on bonuses this time around is an absolute no-go.
Son demasiadas oportunidades.
You've got to have your board play on point. This title has 18 items for players to obtain across 3 different modes: Toad Scramble, Balloon Bash, and Coinathon. Toad Scramble and Balloon Bash share some items, whereas Coinathon has its own set. We'll first begin with the shared items for the first 2 modes. Shy Guy has a shop that can appear in both modes
Va a ser en todo el mundo 4.
on these select boards. Here are all the possible item layouts he can have. These are great and all, but you'll almost always want to grab a double card in Toad Scramble for reasons we're about to get into. For Balloon Bash, I'd rather just save my coins to buy stars, but I'm sure movement items can be fun if you've got some surplus coins. Coinado! Steal 5 coins from the first rival to land on the space where it's hidden. You can only do so on empty spaces. No obstacles can be present, such as magma, but you can place it as far as you want. Your foes won't see where you've placed it and won't get any notification that you've used it, but your Coinado will subtly and slyly disappear from your inventory. If you see another player's one disappear, then you can be sure that the Coinado was placed on the board somewhere, which honestly isn't really that useful, but whatever. And while its effect is good, it's not effective enough to warrant purchasing at a shop. Place it on bottleneck paths that see a lot of traffic for a better chance at getting it set off.
Let your body free. I see the different faces in every kind of space. You gotta find.
Double dice block lets you roll 2 dice blocks instead of 1. For
Algo
the
básico.
standard dice block, this item has a higher ceiling for the number of spaces you can move over the dash mushroom, but a lower floor if you get unlucky. However, you can use this item for an ally's unique dice block, giving yourself an opportunity to try and nail high numbers like DK's 10s, which would otherwise be riskier to go for on a single dice block since he can roll a lot of zeros. Dash Mushroom adds +3 to your roll, which lets you move an extra 3 spaces. Good solid movement item. You'll especially appreciate getting one if you don't have any allies.
Y sobre todo si te son 6.
Use this guy when you need a boost towards certain spots on the board, like an ally or the boss space. Golden Dash Mushroom adds +5 to your roll, which lets you move an extra 5 spaces. Just like the regular mushroom, this can help you blitz ahead towards far-off allies and boss spaces, letting you claim them before players that don't have these items in tow. Both of these items are also great on the 4-1 and 4-3 boards to help in avoiding magma, or 4-2 in order to avoid the annoying bullet bills. Poison Mushroom subtracts -2 from a rival's dice block roll. This item's better than you think because it does the subtraction after the target player has already decided on their route, -2ing from the space they chose. If this item instead subtracted before the player made a selection, then they'd be given a chance to adapt, but due to this quirk, it's pretty nice for screwing over players that want to target a specific space. Warp Box warps you to the location of a rival. Your choice, it's not random, which is fantastic. Once you've selected a player, player, you'll chart out your movement from their spot. They will not get a notification that you're warping to them, so you can steal something good in front of them if they decide to take their time going for it. The game won't allow more than one warp box to exist at any given time, so if someone holds on to theirs, then no one can receive one until it's used. Now the Toad Scramble specific items. Double card. Doubles the coins and stars received from a boss battle. Insane item. It's used automatically right before a boss battle, doubling what you'll get. So if you want a regular boss battle, then you'll get 2 stars instead of 1. Win the final boss battle, where 2 stars are given to first place, you'll get 4 stars instead. Oh, and guess what? These double cards can stack. So if you've got 2 of them and win the final boss battle, then you'll gain 8 stars.
Esta situación yo no he estado.
Effectively winning you the whole game right then and there. Even 4 stars from winning a regular boss battle can do that for you. It unfortunately does have a downside in that it only shows up from question mark block spaces if you're in 4th place, but it always shows up at the Shy Guy shops for a measly 5 coins.
Muy barato para lo bueno que es.
While these shops aren't in the best spots, if you can manage to take a detour, then it is well worth it to nab a double card. Duel Glove lets you select a rival to challenge to an allied duel. Allied duels are a great way to gain allies when you don't have an ally yourself. The problem with dueling like this is that 2 out of 3 of these minigames are luck-based, so you have a high chance of losing your ally despite being the one that initiated the duel. Best opportunity to duel is when you have no allies at all. If you lose, you'll be out 2 coins, but that's way better than an ally
Eh, Prefiero que yo te consiga 2 muebles que de una yo.
going bye-bye. Fling Spring. Send the first rival to land on it flying to another space. Similar to the Coinado, foes won't see you using this item and can only deduce it's been used by it disappearing from your inventory. It can only be placed on empty spaces, and while it's fun to fling your friends around, the random aspect here hurts its usage a bit. You may very well land them in a great spot. If multiple players land on one, then they can get sent to different spaces. Try placing it next to a future boss spawn so that any players that go for it later on will end up flinging when they least expect it. Funny enough, a Fling Spring and Coinado can be put on the same space. If they both get activated, then the Coinado will pop up first, followed by the Fling. Balloon Bash items. Coin Glove lets you select a rival to challenge to a coin duel. Similar to the downside of allied duels, coin duels will often be up to luck and are not worth it unless you need a win to secure the game. Double Star Card. This item doubles the number of stars you can get when exchanging coins. So if you're at a 1-star balloon while holding this item, then instead of purchasing 1 star for 10 coins, you can purchase 2 stars for 20 coins. This effect stacks with multiple, so you can have the option of buying 4 stars for 40 coins. This effect is only nice if you can afford it. If not, then you'll find it being a wasted item in your inventory.
Había una vez donde me ha pasado una vez donde en Google 3 uno tenía 20 monedas y en vez de comprar, de tener 2 de esos globos, una sola estrella, usó esa carta y pone usó un globo de 2 estrellas. Misma cantidad de estrellas, pero objeto desperdiciado.
That might be better off tossed if opportunities don't show up.
What advice would you give young people today?
Play more Minecraft while you can.
Don't you think they should touch
Coin-a-thon items. These items are gained once you've garnered enough coins to fill up a meter, and you grab the item box within the minigame itself. You'll almost always use them as soon as possible since there's no real strategy to employ other than, not using them as soon as a minigame's about to end. You just fire away and screw up your foe, or gain any rewards for yourself. Blooper. Bloopers slightly stop players with an ink splat on the screen that obscures their vision. Focus on what you can see and infer from the visible parts of the screen what you need to do. Coin Bag. These drop 5 red coins on the screen, which players can collect to earn more coins. Where the red coins drop will depend on what minigame you're playing, but you'll often want to prioritize them since they're worth 3 coins apiece. Coin Trio. This gives players 3 coins. Speaks for itself. Double Medal. Doubles each coin collected for a short time. This is the only item that I wouldn't use immediately. Certain minigames have spikes of coins that appear, and you want to wait until the instant those coins become available before using this item. Take Cheap Cheap Reach for example. Use the Double Medal right before you cast for a large group of Cheap Cheeps and or a Golden Cheap Cheep, or on Leafboard Horde right before you enter a cannon and grab a bunch of coins. If there's no obvious spike or groups of coins for you to aim for, then use it immediately and get what you can. This item more often shows up for players in last place though. Kamek. Kamek traps players in chains. Players need to tap their character repeatedly to break from the chains quicker. Definitely the trickiest and most annoying item of them all, since it requires you to take your hands off of your movement and tap the screen quickly. Be ready for this or you'll waste more time than you'd like. Lava Bubble. The lava bubble stuns players and burns up coins and floating iron boxes on the screen. In some cases, it outright resets the screen, the most notable example being Pinball Brawl, which can get rid of any nice double or triple Koopa Shell setups you had. Not much you can do, but wait and start again. Lightning Bolt. Lightning bolts stun players, which in turn slow their gameplay down. It will slow down the entire minigame, not just you, so feel free to play it like normal, but just at a slower speed. This title has 11 allies available in Toad Scramble, not counting the Toad you play by default. You can recruit up to 4 allies. If, while at max, you come across another ally, you'll have to dismiss one onto that space, letting anyone else take them by passing by, so it's really important to not leave behind a useful ally for others to recruit. If you get another ally via another method like the last place ally reward or winning an ally duel, then dismissing an ally will simply cause them to disappear. Allies will spawn in 2 waves.
Siempre salen los dos.
The first wave will always occur on turn 2, whereas the second wave will always occur when a certain boss number appears. Ally spawn points are the same for each map. Like here on 1-2, you can always expect the first wave of allies on turn 2 to appear here, and the second wave of allies to appear here when the third boss appears. If an ally spawn is blocked by another character or an ally tail, then the ally will spawn 1 square away from their usual spot. When I say ally tail, I'm referring to the spaces that your allies take up behind you while you walk. The game does not like spawning things on characters like this whenever possible. When you roll, each ally will roll an ally dice block, which has the numbers 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2.
50-50.
All allies' numbers will add on to yours, so the more allies you have, the more explosive your rolls will be, letting you travel further and further to collect more coins, visit shops easier, encounter more events, land on boss spaces. Just about everything is made easier with more allies. Each ally will also join you in a boss minigame as a CPU on your team, contributing points to your total for the most part. The more of them you've got, the more you'll significantly increase your odds at victory. An amazing player with no allies will find it incredibly difficult beating an amateur with 4 allies and the power of
Es muy importante.
friendship in most minigames, such as in Mega
No siempre es imposible.
Bloopers Bayside Bop, where you can only earn 2 points per round if
Si tienes 4 y los demás no tienen uno, no
you're
hay manera de
alone.
que
Don't
pierdas.
forget that there will always be an ally bonus at the end of each game too, where whoever has the lucky ally will gain 5 coins. And we're not done yet, because each ally has a unique ability and unique dice block too. To use them, you have to be playing as the ally. You can switch to them before a roll, where you'll use their dice block and their unique ability will now be able to activate on the board. Remember, these abilities and dice blocks do not get used when the allies are following behind you, only when you're playing as them.
Love Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft Rewards.
Before we talk ally specifics, we gotta talk grids. Here on Toad Scramble and Balloon Bash, each player will roll, chart out their movement, and move at the same time. If multiple players move through the same space together, then any coins or allies there will go to each player at random. You cannot stop your space count short. You have to move your entire number to land somewhere. This allows for something called movement buffering. Take this space for example. I need a 3, but I rolled a 5. No worries, if I waste a couple spaces by moving around here, then I can get my number to 0 on the space I want. You can't waste spaces like this on straightaways since double backing is not allowed. You also can't do this between even and odd numbers since it's impossible to turn them into each other. For example, I need a 1 but I roll a 4. No matter what path I make, I won't be able to construct one that lets me land on this space that's 1 space away, since it's an odd number away and I rolled an even number. Toad, your starter character, has a 50-50 chance of rolling evens or odds with his dice block 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you might be thinking, wait, certain ally characters roll only evens or only odds. But remember, if you're playing as them, then that means you have Toad and anyone else present rolling an ally dice block, which will add to your total. And it rolls, as we know, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, which is again a 50-50 chance for evens or odds. So while rolling as a certain ally may initially get you their bias for evens or odds, this ally dice block mechanic that will always take effect will nullify it in practice. When considering using an ally's dice block, only keep in mind how high or how low the numbers are, not whether they're odd or even. Coin effects are relevant too. There are 5 breakable objects, which will always grant 5 coins when opened. Barrels, coin rocks, fruits, flower buds, and glowing rocks. Here are the characters that can open each object along with what you need to do to open them. Land objects, such as barrels, coin rocks, and fruits, require you to land on any of the 8 spaces around them to open. Land or pass objects can also be opened by landing on any of the 8 spaces around them, or by simply passing by one of the 4 cardinal directions, up, down, left, or right. This gives Peach, Daisy, Toadette, and Rosalina an objectively easier time on opening their respective objects than DK, Diddy Kong, Wario, Waluigi, and Yoshi for theirs, with no difference in coins either. Strange. Regardless of method, you must be on the same floor as the object to open it. You'll notice that Mario and Luigi get left out on the objects here, and that's because their ability has to do with grass. If you walk through grass, there's a chance a Goomba will appear and take away 5 coins from you. But if you're playing as Mario or Luigi, then they'll jump on the Goomba and earn you 5 coins instead. If you can roll a high number through tons of grass, then you could potentially get more than 5 coins in a single turn, whereas other characters would typically just get 5 coins from opening a single object. The downside? A Goomba may not always appear when you run through grass, and grass is only present on worlds 03, 11, 12, and 23. We're not counting 02 since allies don't spawn there. With only 4 levels to work with, the bros won't see much action unfortunately. But should you see an opportunity, I recommend going for it. Each board, except World 0 boards, will have 2 objects, 3 if the board number ends in 3. At the start of the game, the objects will always spawn in the same spot, and the objects that spawn must be openable by the allies that are going to spawn. So if you're playing 1-1 for example, and see a coin rock and flower bud, then you will see at least one ally that can open a coin rock and one ally that can open a flower bud eventually, either on wave 1, and if not that, then on wave 2. However, grass does not mean Mario and Luigi are guaranteed to spawn. Yeah, they just keep getting shafted. You won't see the same object twice unless the game is forced to, such as in 2-2 where only 3 real allies spawn alongside 2 objects. If the scheduled allies to spawn are Mario, Luigi, and Daisy for example, then the game will be forced to spawn 2 flower buds. Here are all the characters along with their unique dice block rolls. You'll always start with Toad in each Toad Scramble. His ability is a friend to all, which is quite heartwarming, but unfortunately means nothing gameplay-wise. I originally thought that it meant Toad was the only one that can recruit allies into your party, since he's a friend to all, you know? But nope, he has no abilities. His 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rolls are the most average out of any character, but not terrible. Mario rolls 0, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, Luigi rolls 1, 1, 1, 5, 6, 7, and Yoshi rolls 0, 1, 3, 5, 5, and 7. I grouped these 3 together since they have a similar gimmick of low rolls with high rolls. Typically, high rolls are the reason why you'd switch to using an ally's dice block in the first place. Otherwise, you'd roll as Toad instead. While not insane, a 50-50 chance of a high roll is nothing to scoff at. Peach rolls 0, 2, 4, 4, 4, and 6. It's quite comparable to Toad's in terms of variance. Main reason you'd want to use this one instead, however slight, is if you want a higher chance at not rolling 3 or lower. Otherwise, Toad has the 5 and 6 you can go for instead. Daisy's question marks will be how many people are currently in the party, including Toad. Since the ally max is 4, her dice block can end up being 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, which is nice. If you aren't near max though, then you're probably better off looking at other options. Wario rolls -1 coin, -1 coin, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Waluigi rolls -2 coins, -2 coins, 6, 6, 6, and 6. When either of them rolls a minus coin, you will remain in the same spot without reactivating the space you were on, so you don't even get that with these guys. While Waluigi has a higher than average space movement than Wario, it's only by a little bit, and I don't find it enough to combat that he loses you 2 coins instead of 1 on the bad rolls. I like to think that Waluigi and Wario are robbing you when this happens, by the way. Wario wins out here regardless, but both of them can be useful in securing higher rolls if you're desperate. Toadette rolls 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. Without a doubt, it's the most reliable dice block and my personal favorite. It ensures that you, at the very least, will move 4 spaces. If she rolls a 3 and Toad's ally dice block rolls a 1, you're not looking for a marathon with her, but getting a guaranteed healthy dice block roll is something I greatly appreciate. Rosalina's question marks will be what your current placing is, so if you're doing great in first place, then you get punished with a bunch of 1s, then a 5 and a 6. You really want Rosalina when you're in last place for a nice 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, and 6
Mínimo 5.
dice block, making it even more reliable than Toadette's. Heck, this is the case even if you're in third place. Donkey Kong rolls 0, 0, 0, 0, 10, and 10, whereas Diddy Kong rolls 0, 0, 0, 7, 7, and 7. These two have the largest gap in numbers than any other dice blocks. DK's especially is an all or nothing deal, which ain't bad by any means. If you need a ridiculous roll to secure a big win on the board, then DK's your guy. But if your roll just needs to be great, not insane, then Diddy Kong's awesome too. Remember, you aren't guaranteed to even choose, let alone see, each of these characters appear on a board. But if you're stuck between moving towards a few, then knowing their strengths and weaknesses here can help you figure out which ally might be a better fit for your situation. Try and round out your party with different types of dice blocks so that you can adapt to more varied situations.
Mucha estrategia.
We're headed into Toad Scramble. The rules are simple. Whoever has the most stars at the end wins, with every 10 coins you have at the end gaining you a star. So coins are quite important to pick up on the board and earn by destroying objects or hopping on Goombas, depending on your ally. When a boss is defeated, first place will get a star, second gets 5 coins, third gets 3 coins, and fourth gets 2 coins. When the final boss is defeated, first place gets 2 stars, second gets 10 coins, third gets 6 coins, and fourth gets 4
Uno es una estrella.
coins. It's doubled. After a boss is defeated, a balloon will spawn. Could be either a coin balloon or dual balloon. When the world ends in 3, then 2 balloons will spawn after every boss. Collecting a dual balloon will give you 2 coins and start a minigame where the winner gets to steal the ally of whoever they want. If no one has any allies, they get 2 coins from the player instead. The catch? You get to choose the minigame out of 4. That's a crazy advantage that makes these balloons well worth going out of your way for, considering how crazy good having allies is in this game. The coin balloon though? Not worth it at all. It'll give you 2 coins and also let you choose a minigame out of 4, but the rewards for winning go from 5 coins to first, then 4 coins, 3, and 1. Not nearly big enough of a difference to warrant targeting this balloon. When it comes to boss spaces, winning them is vital, which is why you should know that whoever lands on the boss space first, not passes by, lands, will begin the boss battle and gain 5 coins alongside anyone else that landed there with them. Duels will not occur in this scenario. Yeah, if you didn't land there, then the boss will start without you. Mash the A button to quickly run there so you can begin playing it too. You'll always take the shortest route by default, not including any obstacles that would otherwise block your movement. After the boss is defeated, you'll surprisingly begin your turn from the space you were on before you ran to the boss, meaning you can stick to a great spot on the board so long as you're willing to sacrifice being late. You might consider this if the boss is a round-based one like Kamek and Blooper, where being late a single space away versus a ton of spaces makes no difference
8 casillas no es tanto.
since you'd have to wait anyways. If the final boss is the next one to spawn, then it'll often be a better move to position yourself next to its potential spawn point so that you have a better chance at getting 2 stars instead of the usual 1. As said before, Toad Scramble has everyone roll and move at the same time. Watch for your opponent's roll, where they are, and what items they have to predict where they'll go. If it's obvious they're going to grab something you want, but they're closer, then consider alternatives. Sometimes it's hard to see where someone is on the board due to all the allies boss around. Check the map and look at their dot to note their exact position. Toad Scramble has 15 boards in this main game mode, more than any other Mario Party title. Granted, the boards share similar aesthetics and gimmicks. They also aren't
Son mundos.
terribly complex, but this is still cool. The boss, ally, object, and player spawns are all in fixed spots on each board, which I'll display as we go through them. T2 means turn 2, B2 means boss 2, and B3 means boss 3. The initial coin spots are shown in the map, but as you progress through bosses, more coins will appear elsewhere. Shy Guy shops are in the same spot every time, and as said before, all objects are randomly selected. I decided against showing balloon spawns because although some are consistent, others just baffled me as more and more showed up. Not to mention that if a balloon's being covered by a character, then it'll go to a random space, and the fact that you're unlikely to move towards a predicted balloon spawn over a predicted ally spawn anyways, so I'm popping all of them. Adapt as they come. Bowser will always be the final boss on any board ending in 3. When he spawns, he'll hand out a penalty to the player furthest from him via roulette. The outcomes are pretty straightforward in lethality. Lose 5 coins, the least bad out of all of them, and not a big deal. Lose half your coins, could be less bad than lose 5 coins if you've got next to nothing, otherwise pretty bad. Lose 1 star, clearly not good, and lose 1 ally, which is definitely not good with how impactful allies are. The good part about this event, the roulette's actually timeable.
Había una vez donde pedí una estrella, pero yo creo que me puedo haber salido era perder mitad de las monedas. Y la segunda me decía perder 2 estrellas y ya que elegí me hizo perder una.
This time around. So when he rolls, try and press A on what will hurt you the least, which will more often than not be the lose 5 coins one. But if you don't have what the roulette would take, then target that instead, since Bowser will either do nothing to you or actually reward you.
Empieza el juego. Nivel ciudad en eléctrico. Modo híbrido a...
On Worlds 1 through 4, when the final boss appears, the player in last place will be asked to choose a card that's face down. You can get either an ally, which will be taken from a spot currently on the board, an item, for example a dual glove or double dice block, or some coins. All great rewards, but an extra ally to win the boss battle will be best. World 0 is full of practice levels that should be treated as such since they're incredibly short and don't even have any bonuses at the end. Which boss appears and in which order is also scripted. We'll cover them quickly. World 01, a simple plane that's perfect for practice. Here's its map in detail. Mega Goomba will spawn in the middle and your only options is to try and get there first. After he's down, 4 allies will spawn all around. Grab them if you can since they're incredibly helpful during the King Babam fight. No balloons are present here either, so the winner will essentially come down to whoever gets first place in this battle. World 02, a walkway of question mark blocks and items galore. Here's its map in detail. This is where item spaces are introduced. Land on one and you'll get a random item. Multiple players can get items from a space at the same time, and they can be different items. No allies will spawn here, which is a shame since there's so much grass at the top that Mario and Luigi would enjoy. Blooper will spawn first at the bottom. Head up, grabbing items on your way, and try to be the one to start the boss since it's a round-based one. Monty's your next target, and there are no balloons or allies to distract you. Use any items if you've got them. King Boo's the final spawn up top, but note the shop on the right. Stop there if possible and grab a double card. King Boo's minigame is very much in the skill category, and if you can double what you get from first place on it, then you can secure an easy win here. World 03, Boku balloons amid grass and flowers. Here's its map in detail. It's quite the jog to the Mega Goomba in the middle, so you can actually take a moment to grab an item on the lower level. When the Goomba's defeated, an ally will spawn close by. Take a chance at going for them as you head left to King Babam. If your rolls end up lucky, then you can grab them before you head into the fight. Being late on this one ain't too bad. After that, P's up top surrounded by lots of flowers. You might be tempted to head towards them, but gather allies around you and head down instead so you can be closer to the bottom where Bowser will spawn, who's worth 2 stars. In this case, I get a warp block and can face Petey anyways, but it's still a worthwhile strat. Once Petey's done for, Bowser will spawn at the bottom layer very far away. Here is when any movement items come in handy, priority since you want to start his minigame and have everyone else be late. Don't sidetrack for anything other than allies. Due to boss spawns being mostly random from here on out, there is no step-by-step procedure here. Instead, you'll see games I've gone through with me pointing out what good and bad strategic moves I made in response to what came up. We'll go into specific board gimmicks as well. World 1-1. 3 islands connected by a bridge. Luxurious. Here's its map in detail. The first boss spawn will be one of the 4 on the top. The second and third ones will randomly select from all 3 islands. We head up here and could go left, but since players are ahead of me and it's the round-based blooper boss, my distance doesn't matter. I head right to secure Peach instead. Don't win the blooper battle, but hey, I'm in a good position for the next boss instead with a big time advantage. Here's an example of what not to do. Monty Mole is heavily weighted towards who arrives first, so me grabbing an ally down here causes me to join the battle late and lose out on 2 stars since he was the final boss, which loses me the board overall. I should have headed left instead. World 1-2. Star Island is shaped, well, like a star. Don't want to dilly-dally for Mega Goomba too hard here. No ally sucks, but we can still take a win. Being down allies in general means you're at a disadvantage compared to those who do have them, so we want to make up for this by getting to the next boss as soon as possible, and we take that too. Bowser Jr. shows up, and same deal here, no allies means a straight shot with item spaces being our only potential detours. Past Jr., still no allies or items, and it's Monty, so we gotta just beeline it for him. Sometimes you just get games where you're completely friendless, but as we can see here, being good at boss minigames alone can get you the win. They're very important.
Ready to
A
unlock
veces juegan
Roblox digital
simplemente por la
gift
vida.
cards?
World 1-3, a beachside boardwalk for some fun in the sun. More complex board this time around. Here's where we get introduced to the Lakitu space. Can't use it here since we don't start with any coins, but if you did, then you can be moved to another player's space of your choosing, which also activates an ally duel by the way. So don't do this if you don't want a chance losing somebody. Warpbox is a lucky pull. An ally spawns up top on turn 2, and it's Toadette, who I love having in my roster since you will always roll at least a 4 altogether with her, which is just awesome. Past the boss, we use a warp block so we don't fall behind, but it probably could have been saved for later. Yoshi's gonna get grabbed by the foes ahead of me, so I opt in for getting an item instead, and it's a mushroom, which we can use to grab DK up top. Dry Bones is down, and Blooper's next, so we can take our time here. What's nice about having allies when you're DK is even if you roll his pesky 0, you can still go some distance, like here where we can break a barrel for coins regardless of our 0. Our ally count makes us overpowered against Blooper. They didn't stand a chance, and same goes for King Babam. Doesn't even matter that I lost against Bowser due to how many wins overall there were. World 2-1, a spooky manor full of spikes and switches. When you land on a switch space, even if multiple people do, then spike spaces will go out if they were in and in if they were out. Spikes out will block you from passing, so we've got to head down, but then up again since switches be getting pressed. After Goomba, we want to round up allies here since the board is small and you can get multiple of them if your foes aren't paying attention. Remember, you can still run to the boss even if the spikes are up since this mechanic ignores board obstacles. On to the third boss, we'll use our buddy DK again. And what do you know, we nail that 10, letting us recruit the last 2 allies in a row, which ends up being too much, so we've got to unfortunately leave Peach behind since she has the least useful dice in this situation. Also note that if you're on the spikes when they come up, you'll get thrown backward 1 space from where you're facing. Activating the boss here with max allies is essentially a guaranteed win if you're halfway decent. World 2-2, this is Peepa's house. All is not as it seems. First turn goes by like normal until, what? 2 of the same person? What is this madness? 1 ally of each pair is a Peepa in disguise with no way to tell which is which. As you head up, since the first boss will always spawn up here, just turn to whichever ally you can try for and hope for the best. After the boss, I unfortunately get stuck in this top section for quite a while, since each time I try to leave, I end up getting spiked back by other players landing on the switch spaces. Even waiting wouldn't have mattered since the spikes act as a blockade. By the time I escape, there's no point going for Blooper, so I head right as Daisy to get coins from the Flower Bud. We still win on Blooper anyway since again it's round base and we've got an ally for the bonus points. Being close for the final boss is nice and secures us the win handedly. World 2-3, a battleground of Peepa pranks and spike traps. Pretty chaotic board. Stocking on items is good, and so is beating the boss, but when Luigi showed up here, I knew what had to be done. See, there's a lot of grass on each corner of this board, and if we play as Luigi, then we can run around in circles here each turn, getting 5 coins per Goomba stomped whenever they show, and it's not uncommon. Keep in mind that every 10 coins you have will get converted into a star at the end of the game, so 2 Goombas killed essentially equals a star here, and we absolutely can still try our hand at beating any bosses that show as late as we are. We don't even have to win though, even second place is nice while we keep racking up coins in the grass killing Goombas. It's when the final boss shows that we need to give him a break and get a move on. 2 stars is too important, and with that one, we secure the overall win without having to even deal with navigating the different elevations of the board. World 3-1, this 3-layer cake is garnished with coins. The spawn locations for each player and each turn 2 ally essentially guarantees that everybody will end up with someone. We get Mario, which, for the first time ever I'm gonna say isn't great since there's no grass around, but an ally's an ally. After the boss, we could gun for Waluigi immediately, but we want to snake our way towards him and grab all these coins on this cake. His dice block has a good chance of giving us a 6, but could potentially lose us 2 coins too. I find it worth it here considering a high roll would earn us a lot of coins and bring us closer to the bottom where we can take all these coins for our own, thereby justifying us not being super close to the earlier boss space. But now we're close to the third one, which we secure handedly with our 2 allies. World 3-2. On this tasty confection, gold bullet bills abound. At the start of each turn, a roulette will roll where whichever number it lands on is which bullet bill cannon will blast a bill, which leaves behind coins. Our bad initial roll leaves us scrounging for an item, and the golden mushrooms help us blast ahead towards the second boss, getting Rosalina in our party. Us being in second place though means the question marks on her dice block will be 2s, so we won't use it. I'm confident in the junior boss fight, so I detour to get Mario for another ally. After an easy win, we can begin heading up to the third boss, where I'll now reveal that this board is actually scripted in terms of the boss order, so me going right earlier for Mario actually served 2 purposes. King Boo's no trouble, and we head down to get Daisy and collect coins left behind by the gold bullet bill. But watch as the roulette lands on all, which makes each of them fire, sending us to the space above where the bullet bill traveled last. No big deal, we head up to the shop and get a double card, so now even if we get second place, we'll get the equivalent of a single star.
The first full-body adaptive ergonomic chair. Whether you're big or slim, recline, all...
World 3-3, tons of sweet toppings and tasty coins. Yum! Lots and lots of boss spawns here, but we still got options. Since it's Blooper, I head up towards Peach to secure an ally, which is important to do on worlds that end in 3 due to the boards being larger on average and longer on average due to the board size and the 5 boss count. Post boss 1, we even grab a double card here for use on the second boss, but we end up getting blasted away by the number 3 bill blasters and get sent to the lower level, which sucks. But there are these cannon spaces here. Land on one and you'll be asked if you want to use them. If you do, then you can select which crosshair spot, red or blue, you'd like to land on. And by selecting blue, we're back close to the boss and earn double stars. A 3-star lead's already great, but we can take it even further by visiting the bottom shop and getting another double card for safety. Don't need to overcomplicate things at this stage, just heading for the boss with these allies is a straightforward and sound plan. It's the final boss when we're going to want to use our mushroom so that we're in a good spot to not join the fight too late. World 4-1, that magma's too hot to handle, watch yourself. Two turn 2 allies spawn up, so we want to waste no time moving up there, where we get Mario when he shows up. After the boss, we see that the screen rumbles for a moment. This is your indication that on the next turn, magma will rise. When it does, all tiles at a low elevation will be filled with magma, and anyone caught in it will lose 2 coins, forced to move to a higher elevation. While I could have gone right here instead to avoid the magma hit, I found it more worth it to get an ally instead, since magma doesn't prevent you from running to the boss. No need though, since all players ended up on the same platform, and we can just move there when the magma lowers. Similar deal happens on the 3rd boss, where no player makes it to the lower left higher elevation area and we're forced to wait until the magma lowers. No big deal again, since I'm already 2 stars ahead, and on maps with 3 bosses, that kind of lead is usually enough to secure a win, even if you only come in 2nd on the final boss. World 4-2, beware the ballistic bullet bill barrage. At the beginning of each turn, either Bill Blaster 1 or 2 will fire, going through the straight line of spaces. We can see here at a later turn that when I'm in its path, it forces me to run to the end, not letting me get Mario on the right, unfortunately. These green pockets are what can help keep you safe, but I wasn't in them at the time. Moving all these spaces to the top ain't too bad though, since I'm in a decent spot to make progress towards the first boss. I do get a warp box, but I don't make it there first. A worthwhile trade. Second boss spawns up top, and with this board being so small, you'd think this would be 4-1 instead of 4-2. Anyways, we're close enough to begin the second boss, which I love doing for Dry Bones, since his one is pretty easy to do alone. Third one spawns on the opposite side from us, meaning it's a good opportunity to use our warp box to save us the trouble of walking. Fourth boss spawns close by, but so do some allies. We haven't gotten any yet, so we'll get one here despite allies in the Kamek boss not being the most useful. I can see an argument being made here that this is a bad move, but who knows, maybe DK will be the lucky ally at the end. Real issue here is that Yellow Toad rolls a crazy high number and begins the boss with me far away and with more allies than me, essentially winning him the game. DK was not enough.
The first full-body adaptive
También es
ergonomic
fuerte.
chair. Whether you're big or slim, recline.
World 4-3, Bowser's Magma Maze, beware. 2 turn 2 allies spawn close to the first boss spawn in the middle, so we want to land close by to them. This item space will do. We head up to get Peach and DK later up here, but I end up making a bad move. See, the screen shook earlier, which meant the magma would rise, and if you're not on at least the second to highest elevation, you'll get sizzled. I ended my turn too low and without any benefit, since I'm too low to even open up the flower bud. I should have gone up 1 space to the left for safety and a coin balloon. DK's hefty 10 dice block roll here helps out a lot in getting us closer to Junior and racking up some items. I use the double dice block on DK since I just love trying to roll 10s even if it's not the most optimal, and with 1 rolled, we can head way over to the left where Petey is and I get burned by magma. How? Well, when the magma rises the first time, the screen will shake again later, meaning that on the next turn, the magma will rise even higher, where you've got to be at the highest elevation or else you're burned, not the second to highest elevation that won't cut it anymore. I didn't realize this and should have positioned myself back a little more to avoid it. Same deal here as I made my way to the 4th boss. Due to my poor positioning, I end up late to the boss, and you can see here how unhelpful allies can be when facing Kamek.
Es que te sabotea más de lo que te
By
ayuda.
the way, final boss spawns bottom left, but I end up going to the right to try and get a double card first. I don't end up getting the right space counts, but I'm not worried about being late since I've got 4 allies to the next highest player's 1. No matter what Bowser minigame gets played, my allies will be more than enough to make up for me being late, ultimately securing us the win in the end. Overall, Toad Scramble has occasional cute board gimmicks to look out for as you traverse the maps, but your main objective should be securing allies first, items second, and identifying whether it's alright for you to be further away from a boss spawn in a round, or if you should really get closer as to not be late. Welcome to Balloon Bash! Unlike Toad Scramble, it has a measly 3 boards, and they're much simpler
Yo siempre, para mí, y únicamente, los hace más
to
difícil.
boot. Here you win coins to trade for stars, and whoever has the most stars by the end wins. At the end, coins do not get converted into stars, and the bonuses are bonus stars instead of bonuses that give you coins like in Toad Scramble. Star balloons will drop down around the board. If you collect one, then at the end of your turn, you can exchange 10 coins up to how many stars the balloon had. So even though Rosalina got a 3-star balloon, she was allowed to pay for just 1 star, and the other 2-star star balloons just fly away. Unlike Toad Scramble, coin balloons are one of your primary objectives here, since not only do they give you 5 or 10 coins depending on the type, the payout is a lot harsher on second place this time around, only granting them half the coins that first gets. And if you're the one that popped the balloon, you still get to choose the minigame. However, if 2 coin balloons are popped in a turn, then a boss minigame will be played instead, where first and fourth get paired up versus second and third. Only the first phase of the boss will be played, and the winning team gets 10 coins each. No one will be late to the boss here or have any allies helping them, so it's a straight shot test of skill between teams. Other than all that, notable spaces are the movement ones on the floor that simply make you go a certain number of spaces forward or backward when landed on. During the final 5 turns, the last hurrah begins, and the player in last will receive a random item like a double star card, for example, or some coins. Map 1. A fish-shaped map is as simple as can be, with a large square on the top right and a smaller one on the left. It's all in lanes though, so you can't alter your roll to land on certain spaces like in Toad Scramble, unfortunately. Only area you can do that is in the starting area, which you'll want to drop down quickly from in order to actually play the game. Map 2 is a pipe-filled map, which feels like there should be a pipe gimmick, but nope, it's very similar to Map 1. Main point of interest is the shop on the top right, which I find very difficult to actually visit because of the aforementioned single lanes that these boards have you run on. I'd argue it's not even worth the trouble. Map 3 is a zigzagging map and is larger than the other two, with more shops to boot. Here you might be tempted to nest yourself in one of the shops up top, but again, landing there is a bit annoying and can keep you away from important coin balloon spawns near the middle of the area, so I'd recommend staying down there instead. Overall, Balloon Bash is a rather simple mode that hinges on you collecting coin balloons and securing minigame wins over complex strategic board gameplay.
No, no sé si es que tengo más suerte
So long as you've got your minigames down, any board should be a walk in the park. We've ran up to Coinathon. It's a race where Mushroom Kingdom pals collect as many coins as possible. Each coin moves you 1 space. Use items to gain the upper hand, try to slow down your rivals. In a single race, there will be 3 Coin Chaos minigames that will be cycled between. These minigames have 3 levels, and each time the cycle repeats, the level will increase and be a little more difficult to handle, but with more opportunities to get more coins. As you collect them, your item meter will go up, and when it maxes out, an item box will appear within your minigame, which you'll usually want to prioritize to secure an item that you can use against your opponents or for yourself to get coins, depending on what's received. There is no strategic board gameplay to be done in this mode. It's pure minigame skill in its rawest form. Luck will play a part, especially if you're front-running, since items will often target you and slow you down, and the players in the back will have a higher chance of receiving the overpowered double medal item, which doubles the coin yield they get from a minigame for a short time. Should you receive this item, use it before grabbing a boatload of coins in the minigame you're playing. After about half the laps are ran during a 5-lap or 7-lap race, Bowser will force everyone to play one of his 3 gauntlet minigames, where if you get knocked out, you go back a certain number of spaces determined by what order you get knocked out in. If you get knocked out first, it's minus 15 spaces, second is minus 10 spaces, third is minus 5 spaces, and surviving to the end means you don't get penalized. All players can absolutely survive to the end, but if there's someone ahead of you that you really want to knock down a peg, then consider messing with them to make them incur a large penalty. Overall, Coinathon is about besting your foes in these coin chaos minigames. Sharpen your skills and you'll reach the finish line before the rest.
Ya va siendo de minijuegos. No van ni 48 minutos de video ya.
Speaking of minigames, this title has 53 minigames that all have a chance to pop up in Toad Scramble, Balloon Bash, and Coinathon.
No hay ninguno por equipo.
Collectively, there's 26 4-player minigames, 12 boss minigames, 12 Coin Chaos minigames, and 3 Bowser's Gauntlet minigames.
Muy hago.
Games. Free-for-all minigames, a cornucopia, dodge the Goon Brats. Multiple players can win, including everyone. The road is the same every time, but the exact layout of Goon Brats is not. You start with 5 acorns. You lose 1 if you bump into a Goon Brat, but not if you bump into another player. The player bump invincibility frames do not carry over into Goon Brat bumps, so you can bump foes into them all you like, as you should. Just don't recoil bump into a Goon Brat yourself. Moving Goon Brats will waddle straight down or left and right. Each type will get stunned for a moment when touched and continue moving in the direction they were in right after. They each randomly charge in their given direction too, making them harder to dodge. Still, Goon Brats just lay around and do nothing. Ignore these ones. The layout will get more complex near the end, where spaces become limited. This is no race, so take your time navigating them away from other players that may want to bump you and target the threats with bumps
O sea, que tenga inteligencia baja.
of your own. Blockbusters! Shoot all 20 of your character's blocks. You're shown the random layout at the beginning, scrolling from the top to the bottom. Player 1 gets red hearts, player 2 gets blue spades, player 3 gets green clubs, and player 4 gets yellow diamonds. You can shoot in between blocks to hit them both, even up to 4 blocks at a time if you're aiming at the shared corner. If you're able to pull it off quickly, then go for it, but otherwise, just shoot at the blocks normally. This minigame is really fast-paced, and other players shooting blocks around you can screw up what you're trying to go for. Everyone will have 16 square blocks and 4 rectangle blocks, which only affect how easy it is to knock them out. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward and just shooting your blocks and avoiding helping out others. But if there is somebody you want to help out win, then it's pretty easy to do so here. Blow boat battle. Use the mic to blow your boat. The layout's different each time, but easy to navigate. You actually control the blower behind your boat with its angle determining where you go. You can press A to expel air towards your boat if you don't want to blow your boat, but it does not grant you nearly as much air as blowing into the microphone does. When the
Okay.
minigame starts, blow into
Si no sopla es más difícil, pues
the
no
mic until
ganaba.
the blower goes flat. Wait until it regains its size, then blow again. Avoid beach balls by making slight turns around them, maintaining forward progress. Near the end, avoid colliding with the big robot Cheep Cheep and its little Cheep Cheeps behind it, either by going ahead of it, in between, or behind it depending on your position. Bridge Saw Puzzle. Connect the pieces to build a bridge. There are 3 rounds. In each round, first player to cross gets 5 points, second
No veo nada.
gets 3, third gets 2, and fourth
Con el cover de esto no me sabía eso.
gets 1. Round 1 requires 3 pieces to cross, round 2 needs 4, and round 3 needs 5. Your target puzzle piece is the flashing one on your touchscreen. Drag whichever one fits it from the wide array of pieces in front of you and keep going until you make the bridge. The catch is that all players share the same array, and the pieces are oriented in different ways to throw you off. Don't be fooled though, there are enough pieces of each kind for each player to make their bridge. When you're shown your target piece, quickly identify the most unique part about it. Does it have a diagonal side, a 2x2 square in it, a long end that sticks out? Figure that part out and scan the pieces on the screen for that identifier, then quickly drag the desired piece to your bridge. Rinse and repeat for each round. Bumper bugs. Drive through all 8 flags. There are 3 layouts the game will choose from at random, but your goal remains the same. Touch all flags in whatever order you want. You're also given a map at the top right corner of the top screen, which shows your current position and each flag you still need to touch. It doesn't show other players, which can be annoying when you bump into them. No big deal, just move on. But more importantly, it doesn't show where the urchins are. Touch one of those and you'll get stunned for half a second. Before the minigame begins, you can see which layout you got, so before tapping to start, quickly check which flag is closest to you and chart out your path in advance. Then begin the minigame and execute your strategy. Watch closely for the flag to flip upside down so you know that you touched it. You do not want to have to go back for a flag and waste precious time. Conquistador de Force. Pick the right button to avoid getting pecked. Everyone has 3 hit points. Get hit and you lose 1. Whoever has the most hit points by the end wins. The entire platform will rotate 1 one mini platform for each arrow that a player is standing on for a total of 4 spins. This occurs counterclockwise. The main thing to keep in mind is which numbers are your safe spots. In this example, I'm safe if the total number count is 1, 2, or 4. Seeing this, you might be tempted to treat this minigame similar to Womp Stomp from Mario Party 9, but the twist here messes with that completely. Your selection is not permanent. You can screw with your opponents as long as you want and make your real selection at the last possible moment. Knowing this, in our example, we'll keep a close eye on our foes. We want 1, 2, and 4. Since we want a low number, we'll stay low and only move if we see all 3 foes select the arrow so that we can get a 4. But in this case, we stayed low enough to be safe and didn't have to move. This is the general idea behind all 3 rounds in the minigame. You could complicate things further by involving what each other player is thinking in their specific location, but I'd rather keep things a bit simpler and aiming for numbers closer together and doing last-second moves depending on what I see my foes do.
Creo que hay muchos que no puedo perder porque solo juego una vez.
Corkscrew climb, run the ramps,
Este es el más difícil para mí.
jump over the amps. One player is chosen to be the leader at random with everyone else following behind. Amps will come in from the right, which you've got to jump over, because if you don't, then you'll get sent to the back of the line. Whoever's in the front of the line by the time the minigame's over wins. At first glance, you might think that whoever starts as the leader will just instantly win so long as they're good enough, which is technically true, but in practice, they will in all likelihood get hit at least once, as will everyone else. This game runs at 30 FPS. At the beginning, amps will be on screen for about 15 frames before you've got to jump for safety. That's half a second, perfectly doable, but this goes from 15 frames down to 12 in the middle to 10 at the end. The 10 in particular requires 333 milliseconds of response time, which is still within human reaction time. In a vacuum, all of this assumes that you recognize an amp is coming on the very first frame it shows up, which can be incredibly difficult.
No me sale.
Sometimes they'll be facing away with the electricity a bit small. Sometimes when a player gets hit, they'll fly off to the right of the screen, covering the amp. And you've also got to remember that you're doing all of this on a small screen when you're tensed up and others are probably trying to distract you. So yeah, it's unlikely for someone to one-shot this. When running, glue your eyes to the right and get ready to jump. Tap jumps won't do it. You have to hold them to go high enough to leap over the amps. Your timing will vary depending on your position, which ain't a big deal until you're front running. When you start nearing the end, you need to be on top of your game to secure the win, because if you get out here, then it'll pretty much be over unless the others aren't paying any attention. Good luck and good reaction. Dodge fuzzy, get dizzy. Spin, spin, spin to reach the top. It's the same layout every time, but where the fuzzies are will differ. Touch a fuzzy and you'll get bumped down quite a bit. To go up, spin the stylus around in large circles for the fastest speed. The first track of fuzzies are in a row. If the coast is clear, keep spinning. If not, then wait a quick sec right below where they are until they pass so you have enough time to get your speed back up. The second row of fuzzies are in alternating positions, making the gaps a little trickier, but just keep spinning if there's an opening and don't if not. Pretty straightforward. Fruit or foe, find the apples. There are 5 houses and 2 rounds. At the beginning of a round, you'll see 4 Shy Guys carrying apples run in different directions. Players will then take turns choosing houses and hopefully getting as many apples as possible each round. And if you thought that which direction the Shy Guys ran at the start here, or the way the houses bounced before selection, was any indication that this wasn't a luck-based minigame, then you'd be wrong. Houses can bounce even if there's not a chain jump inside. Guess the Shy Guys are just really excited to give you some fruit, huh? Thanks, buddies. Fruit Parade. Watch closely and count the fruit. There's only one round. Shy Guys will walk down the hallway with plates of oranges, lemons, and apples. Your job is to keep track of how many there are of each, easily done by taking notes on the touchscreen. Simply make an A for apples, L for lemons, and O for oranges on top of one another. Then tally each fruit you see. Don't get thrown off by the Shy Guys spinning around. Do your tallies quick and don't keep track of whose plates you've already counted. By the end, you'll be asked how many of a certain fruit there was. The least it can be is 0, and the max can be is 9. Anything else, and you miscounted. If no one else gets the exact number, then whoever's closest will get it. with multiple players able to win this one. Goomba Guess. Memorize where all the Goombas are. There are Galoombas mixed in with the Goombas as well. There will always be 12 Goombas and 9 Galoombas. You might think you can take your time at the ready up screen memorizing the pattern and be good, but when all players ready up, a few shuffles will happen, the lights will go out, obscuring which enemy is which, and more shuffles will occur before the minigame truly begins. You get 1 point for tapping a Goomba and minus a point for tapping a Galoomba. Everyone shares the same screen, so once one of these enemies are tapped, no one else can get that point. This is why you should memorize the spots of Goombas that are bunched up. Keep track of any one that gets swapped, and when the minigame starts, quickly tap that area. If those are the only Goombas you memorize, then stop tapping. You do not want to tap any silhouettes and get minus 1 point from a Galoomba, especially if you've already noticed all 12 Galoombas have been tapped. Let your opponents make that mistake. Greedy Eats. Pick a plate and try to get the most cookies. There are 5 rounds. Each round, you and the others will each select a plate containing cookies. If you're the only one to select a plate, you get all the cookies on it. If someone else selects it too though, you divide it evenly with them, with any leftovers remaining on the plate going directly into my mouth. One
Este mente.
cookies worth 1 point. If you don't input anything, you don't get any cookies. Yeah, this one's all about mind games, making it quite a bit luck-based, but pay close attention to how your opponents act between rounds. Are they all constantly going for the large plate? Then pick the smaller one. Do they keep playing passive? Go for the larger one. More importantly though, you all have 10 seconds to make a selection. It's possible that your foes might make their selection and speak out loud what they selected or hint towards it, not realizing just how much time is left for others to select. Not crazy likely, but it is something and should have you waiting to make a selection until closer to the end. You can't have it all in this one though, considering people can be pretty random. Haunted hallways. Find the final room. You and the others are on the same layout and begin in the same room together. If you touch a boo, then it'll take you back to the starting room. While you could aimlessly wander these hallways trying to find the final room, you should know that this is a solved minigame. Big thanks to NatNew32 for explaining to me how it works and providing the graphs for this section. This minigame has 2 base layouts, A and B. The gold hexagon represents the final room, the pink hexagons represent possible starting rooms, and the blue lines represents the pathways between rooms. Unfortunately, the game can reflect these layouts horizontally and vertically, creating 8 layouts like so, but we can know exactly which of the 8 layouts we're on instantly because the minigame shows us the final room before it even begins. Let's start with the A variations. Take a look at this room. Which layout are we on? Feel free to pause if you need to. The answer is A3, because there's a pathway leading top left, and that only matches A3. How about this one? This is A2, due to the bottom right path showing. Now let's do the B variations. Got a clue in this room? You might be confused initially since there are 2 rooms that point upward, B3 and B4. But see the window on the wall? These only appear when a room is on the outer edges of the map. With this new information, which one are we on? It's B4, since the window's on the left and that's where the edge of the map is.
Si fue PT sería al revés.
With this, if you were to memorize all the layouts, that would ensure victory. But let's go on to more practical methods that require less memorization. If the final room has a diagonal path, know that it can only be in one of these 4 spots. Pin it based on where the diagonal is pointing and count 2 rooms in that direction. Then, trace around the center in the direction of your starting room and end when you land on the room that shares a wall with the final room. This room is your target and can be accessed within 2 doors. When you reach it, simply trace back around the center rooms until you're a straight shot away from the final room for an easy win. If the final room has a vertical path, know that it can only be in one of these 4 spots on the corners. Pin it based on where the path is pointing and which side the window is on, since it indicates the edge. If your starting room is on the opposite wall, then head 1 room towards the middle, then head straight across to the other wall. You'll end up doing this weird zigzag pattern. When you get to the other side, head straight towards the final room for victory. If your starting room is instead on the top or bottom, then leave in the direction of the final room, make your way to the center room, turn towards the final room, then cleanly run straight for it to secure your victory. Here are the graphs that cleanly explain the methodology for each arrangement. Recall that A is diagonals and B is verticals with windows. These halls are haunted no more.
Pues sí, es suerte.
Esto es cultura.
Todo.
Y esto.
Jewel janitors vacuum the most jewels into your corner. Jewels are worth 1 point and are light, big jewels are worth 5 points and are heavy, and amps are worth no points, will stun you for 2 whole seconds when touched, and are annoyingly light, so avoid those. When the minigame begins, there will be a random assortment of jewels around. You might assume that you should just hold down the A button for as long as you can until your vacuum stops, then rinse and repeat, but this won't do at all. Notice how my vacuum strength gets less if I hold it for a while, and this stun time at the end ain't so good either. I'm hardly getting any jewels. The optimal way to use your vacuum is to hold the A button for a little over half a second, quickly release, then hold it for over half a second again, repeating that pattern. This way your vacuum will never burn out and you'll be consistently doing large suctions of air without the power lessening. Notice just how many more jewels I get to my side when I do it like this. The others have to really fight me for it. Obviously prioritize the crazy valuable 5-star jewels and avoid any amps. Jump to conclusion. Be first to jump your way to the finish line. There will always be 45 steps no matter how many times you play. Small jumps get you up 1 step and big jumps get you up 2. The big rule of thumb for this one, without getting complicated, is that all piranha creepers are misaligned with each other except for one. Meaning that if after each piranha you clear, you do a small jump, then spam big ones, you'll be correct each time except for one. The more complicated explanation here is that there are 3 minigame layouts. This one is A, designated by these 2 dirt paths with a large gap under the second one. This one is B, designated by these 3 dirt paths, one for each horizontal line in the letter B. And this one is C, designated by these 2 dirt paths, but the second one has a piranha on the right that wants to be seen. If you're on the A path, then spam big jumps, doing 1 small jump after each piranha you cross. After you pass this first pair of piranhas close to each other, just keep doing big jumps. Do not do a small one because you're already aligned. Once you clear this next piranha is when you return back to doing 1 small hop followed by big jumps for each piranha. If you're on the B path or C path, then spam big jumps, doing 1 small jump after each piranha you cross like normal until after you pass the second pair of piranhas close to each other, where you'll now immediately do big jumps with no small jump buffer since you're already aligned. Clear the next piranha, and you can go back to single small hops after each piranha, followed by big jumps like before. If you're not a fan of this strat, then feel free to look out for the vines on the right of upcoming piranhas to gauge how far they are and determine whether or not you wish to do a small jump or big jump for alignment from there. Lava Labyrinth, treasure ahoy! Get to the biggest chest first. There are 3 chests and 1 fish bones at the end of each respective path. What placing you come in depends on how big your treasure is, with the fish bones getting you a nice juicy boatload of nothing. There are 2 path layouts that will be chosen from at random, but where the chests and fish bones are will be completely randomized as well, so you'll still have to adapt your pathing regardless if you've memorized these or not. We've also got magmargs that slowly make their way across the path. Touch one and you'll get stunned for a couple seconds, which is precious time, so only run by if it's safe. When the minigame's about to begin, note the chest locations, then scan from the largest one down to where your starting position is. Immediately start heading that direction while holding R to get a wide overview of the course, taking paths without magmargs when possible. If a foe's clearly going to make it to the large chest before you, then head for the second to largest chest instead. The last thing you want is to get stuck with the fish bones. Parkour War. Carry 3 jewels to the top. The layout is the same every time. You begin holding a jewel, so start bouncing up to the top by pressing A each time you land on a platform. If you don't, then you won't have enough height to go up. Nailing your timing on each platform as you maneuver around ones in the air is how to get ahead in this minigame. You'll automatically deposit the jewel at the top once you get there, so quickly drop down and fall in between the platforms to reach the bottom quickly, where you'll automatically grab another jewel just by standing there. Rinse and repeat while avoiding running into your foes, taking the least busy path, and you'll be the parkour champion.
A mí se me olvida prestar atención también otra cosa que ustedes quieren.
Piece of cake. Memorize fruit placement and cut the cake. There are 3 rounds. Each round has 2 variations of fruit layouts, but the possible cuts can vary. When a round begins, look at where the cuts are. Then memorize in order what fruits are along each cut from top to bottom. I like thinking of B for bananas, S for strawberries, and K for kiwis. In this example, we think to ourselves SS, B, and S. When the shy guy shows the cake, we simply make the cut on that fruit's line. The second round will up the count to 4 cuts, but do the same thing as before. The third round's got 5 cuts with a mix of all 3 fruits. Just keep up with the letters and you'll get through this one just fine. Piranha Plantamonium. Shoot down the piranha plants. Regular piranha plants are worth 1 point, goldens are worth 3 points. You can move left and right, but it's more like shifting gears than one fluid motion. This makes it quicker to shoot down a lane of plants in front of you than attempting to move and shoot left and right. But if you mash the A button while you do, then you'll automatically stop at the next column of pipes, which is quicker than moving, waiting for you to stop, then shooting. Goldens are the clear priority and show up more as time goes on. The fourth wave of piranha plants will be all goldens. Position yourself at a column where less players are aiming and fire in advance to nab goldens quick and early, moving on to other ones around the area once you're done. This pre-firing in between waves is always a good idea. The fifth wave will be a giant golden piranha plant worth 10 points, but unfortunately its last player to hit it gets it all, which is unreliable. Fire away at it and hope for the best. If you hit an opponent, then you'll stun them for a long 3 seconds. Just absolutely brutal. Do not be in their lane of fire unless there are piranha plants in between. Feel free to try and get a sneaky shot in here and there when possible though. Pop quiz. Watch carefully and answer the questions. There are 3 rounds. First player to answer correctly gets 4 points, second gets 3, third gets 2, and fourth gets 1. The first round's question will always ask, where was the blank? And there's only one variation. A Koopa, Goomba, Shy Guy, and Bomb. So you just need to memorize each enemy's position. Simple as that. The second round's more complex. Its question will always ask a form of who was blank. It could be who was facing a certain direction, who was jumping, things like that. An enemy can be facing a direction and doing an action, requiring you to memorize both in case either one pops up. The first variation in this round has 4 Goombas, with 1 facing right, 1 facing left, 1 facing forward and jumping, and 1 walking about. The second variation has a Koopa Troopa and 3 Shy Guys, with the Koopa facing forward and looking around, 1 Shy Guy facing right and jumping, 1 Shy Guy walking about, and 1 Shy Guy twirling in circles. The third variation has a Shy Guy and 3 Goombrats, with the Shy Guy facing right and jumping, 1 Goombrat walking about, 1 Goombrat facing forward and looking sleepy, and 1 Goombrat actually asleep with their eyes closed. Do not mix these last 2 up. One is just drowsy, whereas the other's snoozing away. The fourth variation has a Goombrat and 3 Shy Guys, with the Goombrat moving their head around, 1 Koopa facing right and waving, 1 Koopa walking in a circle, and 1 Koopa just facing down. The third and final round will have 3 enemies doing the same action in a certain order, with 1 enemy doing something else. Memorize the order while noting what the fourth enemy does as well. The question can ask about either one. The first variation will have 2 Koopas, a Goombrat, and a Shy Guy. One of the 2 Koopas will begin waving, then the Goombrat will walk.
Dijo wave, no tiene sentido, se autocorrigió.
Then the other Koopa will wave their hands, then the Shy Guy will walk. You'll be asked who started walking first, second, or third, or who was waving their hands. The second variation will have a Goomba, Koopa, Hucket Crab, and Shy Guy. The Koopa will jump first, the Goomba will walk in a circle, and at nearly the same time, the Hucket Crab will jump, followed by the Shy Guy jumping. You'll be asked who jumped first, second, or third, or who was walking about. The third variation only has bombs. 3 of them will explode in a random order, whereas the 4th one will not explode. You'll be asked who went kaboom first, second, or third, or who didn't go kaboom. Pay close attention to the quirk of each round, be quick in pressing the button for the corresponding enemy, and you'll find this one pretty easy. Roller Revenge, be the last one standing. If multiple players are remaining by the end, then whoever has the most hearts wins. Multiple players can win. You've got 3 lives to work with. Getting hit by an enemy doesn't take one away, but is quite annoying since it can bump you into a roller, which will take one away. This can also happen if you fall off the edge. If you've got a heart remaining, then you'll come back in a bubble after a few seconds and be invincible for a couple seconds to boot. This invincibility protects you from rollers and getting punched, whereas the flashing invincibility you see from getting socked in the face only prevents you from getting punched again, not the rollers. This is why you want to be an absolute jerk towards players right next to rollers. Punch them into one whenever possible. Unfortunately, our beloved jump kicking is not here, but that means jumping is a lot safer since the punches can't reach this high and there's no jump kicks to hurt you. Prioritize staying closer towards the bottom part of the arena since it's further away from where the rollers drop down, giving you more time to dodge them. Rolls for moles. Time your rolls to hit the moles. There are 3 rounds. Round 1 has 3 multi-moles, round 2 has 4, and round 3 has 5. Everyone gets the same layout. For round 1, throw as soon as the timer hits 18. For round 2, there are 3 patterns. If a pair of Monty Moles hops out in front and a pair hops out in the back, then throw when the timer hits 11. If the Monty Moles hop out in a row, then throw as soon as the timer hits 18. Even a tiny bit before works. If the Monty Moles all hop out at the same time, then throw after all of them safely land in their holes. For round 3, there are also 3 patterns. If the Monty Moles hop out in a row, then throw a teeny bit after the timer strikes 14. If the first Monty Mole hops out, then 3 in the middle, then the last one, then throw when the timer hits 16. If the first Monty Mole hops out, then the last 4 hop out a little later, then you're dealing with the hardest to time layout. Immediately check the point totals. If you can win by getting 4 points, then throw as soon as the timer hits 9. But if you can only win by getting a full 5 points, then throw right before the 10 is about to turn to 9. This window is tight. Throw it too early while it's 10 and you'll only hit the first Monty for a single point. Throw too late and you'll get 4 points. If you don't want to deal with memorizing these timings, then I recommend watching the current Monty Mole pattern cycle through multiple times until you have a good feel for the variation before throwing. Remember, you have 20 seconds on the clock. Don't rush it. Shooting stars. Fling 5 balls and aim for a high score.
Este no tiene sentido incluso con inteligencia artificial del
The
mínimo.
layout is the same every time, with a 1-point hole in the middle, 3 5-point holes around it, 3 3-point holes outside, and 3 star holes outside as well.
Are you a Roblox fanatic? Microsoft Rewards has a brand new way for you.
Getting a ball into a star hole will cause 4 extra balls, 1 from each cannon in the corners, to shoot out on behalf of that player. These balls themselves can go into star holes, causing even more extra balls to spawn, and so on. For this reason, the star holes are your #1 target bar.
No, hasta los shooters también pueden hacer eso y es absurdo.
None. It's a shame that targeting them is so difficult though, made even harder at the 20-second mark when the platform rotates faster, and then at 10 seconds it's even faster, not to mention there's so much visual clutter. But let's take it slow. When the minigame begins, look at the stylus graphic on the top left corner of your screen. After the minigame's start text fades away, you'll see the stylus raise up, and when it touches the bottom, do a slow swipe of your stylus directly up to lightly fling your ball, and it'll safely go into the star hole. When the left star hole begins moving down and you see the stylus hit the bottom, do the same maneuver to nail your second star hole. These 2 are the easy ones, believe it or not. The third one is tricky since it'll speed up mid-rotation. You can get it if you slide the ball off to the right so that it slides alongside this hole and hopefully goes in. You can do your best to aim for the 4th and 5th star holes at this speed, but I wouldn't count on it with how fast the platforms rotate rotating and the likelihood of there being lots of balls bouncing around the arena to throw everything off.
No tiene sentido.
Nailing even 2-star holes from the start is amazing and can win you the game off of that alone, considering the snowball effect we mentioned earlier. Get good at this opening and watch as the game plays itself. Splat a stamp. Splat the stamp with as much ink as you can. Multiple players can win. The stamp for you to ink can be either a bullet bill, Babam, or a Shy Guy. Your goal is to fling as much ink as you can onto the stamp. You're able to cover other players' ink as well. Only the spots on the stamp itself will count in the end. Doesn't matter how much ink you got around it. The tricky part here are the controls, where you've got to slingshot your ink balls onto the stamp. You've got the cursor to help out, but it's the speed plus accuracy part you've really got to work on. Since it's more comfortable for players to do straight shots of ink than ones at awkward turns, I recommend covering the side parts of the stamp in ink first before moving on to the middle, which should be your focus from the middle onward. You just need more ink on it than everyone else, so if a certain player clearly has more than you, then cover their ink spots with your own. Feel free to even call out how much more ink they have than everyone else and take advantage of the chaos to get ahead. Top it off. Be first to grab the right card.
Pues con todo que tengo, ¿en qué se me hace más difícil?
There are 8 rounds and everyone gets the same bottom half of a card per round. Whoever's the first player to select the correct top half of the card will get a point, with anyone who selected it after getting nothing. If you select the wrong top half, you get -1 point. Here are all the possible cards that can show up in this minigame. The possible buttons that can show up on the top halves will be random between A, B, X, Y, L, and R. There is no difficulty progression as the rounds go on. This is a very straightforward reaction-based minigame, so memorize the potential cards, know the possible buttons, and be quick. Wheelin' and wigglin'. Bump into rival cars to shorten their cabooses. Everyone starts in a wiggler vehicle that has 4 segments behind them, which is essentially how much health you've got. Lose them all and you lose the minigame, with your vehicle now being a stationary object in the arena. When your meter on the right is max, you can press B to boost. This can be great for running away from people, but if you boost into a foe's wiggler, not the head, then you'll knock off the backmost segment clean off, even if that wasn't the one you were aiming for. Getting hit like this will knock you back a bit and make you invincible for a couple seconds. This is not a point-based minigame though, it's a survival one. While picking fights like this may be good in safe scenarios, or if you're just flat out better at maneuvering than the others, the best way to preserve your segments is by repeatedly boosting around the outer circle of the arena. Whereas in the middle you can get hit from every which way, this halves the amount of angles you can be hurt from and puts you out of eyesight a bit easier. By the time players notice you're doing this, the minigame may very well either be close to over, or you'll have a healthy sum of segments more than them who were just fighting each other the whole time. If you feel like fighting though yourself, then I recommend not randomly turning in the middle of the arena. Stick to the edge, turn, find your targets, then gun it for them when possible.
Toca el jefe.
Boss battles! In Toad Scramble, these are triggered by a player reaching the boss space first, and since players often don't start the boss at the same time, someone's gonna have a head start over another. They'll also often have allied CPUs playing alongside them and adding points to their total, so you can play incredibly well and still fall short if you entered the minigame late and or have fewer allies than your opponents. In Balloon Bash, these are triggered if more than one coin balloon is collected on the same turn. First and fourth place will be put on a team against second and third place. Both players' points will be added together in the end. Only the first phase of each boss will be played in Balloon Bash, not the second. The way you approach these minigames may be slightly different depending on if you're alone or playing with allied CPUs or a teammate, which will be specified as they come along. Bowser's Hit or Missile Mania. Beat Bowser. Mash the A button to launch missiles. There are 3 levels to these missiles. Mash to the first one to fire a single missile for 1 point, then keep going to launch 2 for 2 points, then 3 for 3 points. The twist is that Bowser launches missiles back. Getting hit by one loses you a point and causes your meter to drop to the
En este juego todo que te puede golpear y siempre te quita un punto.
latest segment you reached. You can press B to defend against them, but you cannot mash while your shield is up. Your meter will also slowly deplete while the shield is up too. It won't drop below your latest segment though. You want to maximize your mashing time and minimize your shielding time by only pressing B as soon as Bowser's attack is about to hit you, no earlier. When he gets down to half health, he'll launch faster spike balls at you, which aren't a big deal. What is though are the red spike balls that he lobs up. These are less clear and when to guard. You'll hear an alarm start blaring. You want to guard on about the 9th blare or so. Visually, this would be the 9th time the screen flashes red, which I find easier to tell by staring at a pocket of space in the distance. This is all in a vacuum though, both figuratively and literally. Once allies get involved, the meter will rise up way faster. If a foe's got friends and you don't, you'd better be a mashing and shield timing champion to pull off a win. Bowser's shocking slip up. Beat Bowser.
Parece que esté haciendo el inverso.
Hit the item boxes to give Bowser a shock. All the item boxes around the arena will roll between bananas and lightning over and over. Hit it when there's a banana and one will pop out. Slip on one and you won't lose a point, but you will get stunned for a moment without invincibility, making you vulnerable. Hitting it when there's lightning will shock Bowser for however many points of lightning you got, cause there are double item boxes too. This means a couple bananas can pop out on each side as well. After a box has been hit, it'll reset after 4 seconds. You'll want to dash in a single direction throughout the minigame, quickly hitting each block at the lightning mark while avoiding Bowser's attacks. During the first phase, he'll shoot 3 fireballs, which you can dodge by weaving in between them. He'll also shoot out missiles right after, which rain down on the arena, requiring you to dodge where the crosshairs are. These 2 attacks will keep repeating until his health reaches half, where he'll become Mecha Bowser and gain new attacks. The first attack is the spiked balls, which will drop down and roll in one direction. But the spiked balls don't get rid of bananas, so keep jumping over those. The second attack is Mecha Bowser targeting a player and blasting them with a laser at the floor where they stand, so jump and dodge if he's targeting you. He'll do this 3 times, and can target the same player multiple times. Regardless if you're playing against people with lots of allies or not, you'll want to chain together as many blocks as you can while avoiding bumping into other players. Last shot gives that player +3 bonus points. Bowser's Space Race. Beat Bowser. Transport an explosive surprise to Bowser. If you get to the end normally, you deal 1 point of damage. Grab the Mega Mushroom first when you do, and that'll be 3 points of damage. Get hit and you'll not only lose a point, but get knocked out for that round. That's right, you won't even get a chance to earn any points.
Eso es importante tener en cuenta.
So we want to make sure we know what Bowser's attacks are. He can shoot fireballs in a straight line, which are pretty easy to quickly dodge around, just do it slightly so you won't waste time turning. He can also shoot missiles that'll crash onto the course, indicated by the crosshairs on the floor. You can boost 1 time each round, which you should always be doing so that you're the first one to reach the Mega Mushroom at the end. Use your boost either when you want to blast past a crosshair, get out of a clumped area with a bunch of players, or if you're nearing the end and haven't used the boost yet. If you touch the walls, then you'll slow down a ton. Avoid them at all costs, unless you get hit otherwise. When Bowser reaches half health, he'll turn into Mecha Bowser with a brand new moveset. Kind of. He shoots blue fireballs now, which go faster than the red ones, so be careful. Instead of missiles, he now drops down giant spike balls that'll roll around on the course after landing, so take a sharp turn out of their way. Lastly, he can shoot out each one of his arms in a wide, curved motion, which can be difficult to dodge since it may go off-screen. Keep an eye on its trajectory and use your boost to blast ahead so that it ends up behind you if possible. Safety above all else during this second phase, unless you're playing against a good player. Then go prioritize speed and cutting corners. Bowser Jr.'s Pound for Pound. Beat Bowser Jr. Hit the switches with the ground pound. There are 16 blue switches on the outer circle worth 1 point each, 12 blue switches on the middle circle also worth 1 point each, and 8 orange switches on the center circle worth 2 points each. Each circle will spin in an alternating circle. To ground pound as quickly as possible, you want to mash the A button, but do it against the flow of whatever circle you're on so you can travel less distance. Prioritize the orange switches above the rest when Bowser Jr.'s not facing you. He'll attack either by doing a flurry of punches and then striking forward, or by winding up one of his arms and lunging forward instead. Regardless of how you get hit, even if you so much as touch him, you'll get knocked back and lose a point, so make sure you only go for the orange switches when he's focused on someone else. It's not bad at all to monopolize a row of switches on the outer part. When he reaches half health, all the switches will pop back up, able to be ground pounded again for points. Junior can now extend out his arms and spin slowly in the circle, hitting anyone within the 2 inner circles. You can jump over this attack, slyly getting switches as you do. He can also do a smaller circle motion on the inner circle, which is a lot faster and should absolutely be avoided. Once all the switches are pressed, the big one in the middle will pop up. Getting this one can be a bit tough since circle motion on the inner circle, which is a lot faster and should absolutely be avoided. Once all this attack, slyly getting switches as you do. He can also do a smaller circle motion on the inner circle, which is a lot faster and should absolutely be avoided. Once all the switches are pressed, the big one in the middle will pop up. Getting this one can be a bit tough since Junior likes to camp here for a while, but if you can manage it, then go for the ground pound to earn 5 points, ending the minigame. Kamek's card tricks. Beat Kamek. Pick a card with lots of down arrows. Each round has 15 cards to choose from, where you'll be given a few seconds to memorize them. You'll want to select a card that has the most down arrows possible, since each arrow is 1 point of damage. If you end up not going down even 1 arrow, then you won't shoot anything and will gain no points. If you select a Kamek card, then he'll shock you and get rid of a point. The tricky part here to Kamek's card tricks is that he can flip cards upside down. I wouldn't account for this though and just stick to memorizing the 3 arrow cards, making a dash to them with your cursor as soon as you can. Keeping in mind a 2 arrow one just in case ain't half bad either. When Kamek reaches half health, he'll add more Kamek cards and reverse more cards too. He can also swap around cards' positions, really screwing with you. Now is when you'll want to kick into gear and lock onto the 3 down arrow cards, watching if it gets swapped or flipped around. Even looking at the 3 up arrow cards and seeing if it gets flipped is a good idea since you can target them instead.
What advice would you give young people today?
Play more Minecraft while you can.
Don't you think they should touch grass?
Out of all the boss minigames, this is the one where I'd argue having allies is a bad thing.
Ese es peor, porque hace prácticamente imposible no hit.
They can easily screw you over, even multiple times in a row. King Bombs, boom to top. Beat King Bomb. Drop bombs into the cannon.
Esto también me ha pasado.
There are 9 cannons scattered around the arena. Throw a bomb in and you'll deal 1 point of damage. The bombs will fall from the ceiling when King Bomb jumps. Watch for the crosshairs and be ready for them, because if one falls on top of you, then you'll lose a point. If it explodes in your hands or next to you, then that's a point lost too. When you grab a bomb, make your way to the nearest cannon. Throw it in, then search for the next closest bomb to rinse and repeat. When a cannon is used, it'll go away though, so keep that in mind. Not all bombs that fall are made equal. Some will be red when they fall, which means they'll explode after a little over 2 seconds, which is definitely enough time to grab and chuck it into the nearest cannon, but not if there's no cannon close by. This is when you'll want to prioritize the non-red bombs that fall that'll explode closer to 9 seconds, which is a lot more manageable, even if you've got to travel to the other side of the arena with one. When King Bomb loses half of his health, he'll spawn even more bombs with a heavy one falling down too. This one's worth 3 points, but you move slower while carrying it. Still worth it, but just make sure you route to the nearest cannon quickly. When playing with allies, stick to spots where they aren't so you can cover more ground. Whoever gets the final shot in earns 3 bonus points. King Boo's Light Smite. Beat King Boo. Carry the light boxes to King Boo. Light boxes deal 1 point of damage, whereas golden light boxes deal 3 points of damage. When the minigame begins, you'll grab a
Este es el que más veces he pedido y es único que he pedido.
light box, then make your way through the platforms that spin clockwise and counterclockwise. To move as fast as possible, stay on the outside of the platform, then transfer to the outside of the next platform, and so on until you reach the end and deal damage, where you'll be returned to the beginning. The tricky part is avoiding the peepas. Touch one and you'll lose a point, get sent back to start, and lose your light box. What a brutal obstacle. Falling off will send you back to the beginning without your light box too, but you won't lose a point. Either way, avoid these peepas and don't fall off. When King Boo hits half health, the platforms spin faster and the golden light boxes will finally appear. grab them at all costs. If you see a player's already taken one, then it's actually more worth your time to wait until it spawns back. 3 points is way too massive, and so are these boxes, because you move slower when carrying them. Doesn't matter, stick to the outer circles. You can jump instead here for safety, but you'll lose out on time. Only do this if you're already far enough ahead and speed isn't as much of a factor. Last player to get a shot in on King Boo earns 3 points,
Ni idea que ese momento iba a ser.
which can be huge. If you need that bonus to win and you've only got a regular light box, then wait until his health hits 1, like here, then move forward to deal the final blow. Mega Bloopers Bayside Bop, a rhythmic beach battle with Mega Blooper. Watch the bloopers bop and bounce the ball to their beat. Perfectly timing gets you 2 points, a little early or a little late gets you 1 point. Miss the timing entirely or don't bop at all and you'll get minus a point. You'll be responsible for 1 note in each song played, which will be played in full by the bloopers at the beginning of each round. The other players will do the other notes for the song, same with any allies present. There are 3 timings to a note: low, medium, and high. Low notes come right after the note before it.
Love Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft Rewards.
Make your input quickly. Medium has a slight pause before your input, and high has a slightly longer pause before your input. At the end of each round, players will swap around randomly, so don't worry if you don't like your spot. After 10 points have been earned in total, the tempo will speed up, making it harder to time your note. While you only do a single input per song here, it's important to pay attention, listen, and watch the bloopers play out the song so you can replay it in your head and hit the note at the right time. Don't let the other player's mistakes trip you up. You still have to hit the note with the same timing regardless. Whoever's the last player to fill up the bar gets a bonus 3 points, which is too hard to aim for unfortunately, so do your best, you
Pero ya no se puede.
musician. Mega Dry Bones Femur Favor. Beat Mega Dry Bones. Launch cannonballs with a ground pound. Your platform has 3 lights. Fill them up via ground pounds and you'll deal a point of damage. A regular ground pound will light up 1, whereas a perfect ground pound that's done at the peak of your jump will light up 2, meaning you should always do a perfect ground pound and a quick one to equal 3. Dry Bones has a sweeping bone attack that goes from either left to right or right to left. Regardless, it'll fly through every player, requiring them to dodge while jumping. When you see it coming, quickly assess whether you should be doing a quick ground pound to dodge in time, or if you have time to do a perfect one if that'd be better. If you get hit, you'll lose a point. When Dry Bones hits half health, he'll attack more often and throw flaming bones that requires better timing to dodge, but your method of dodging should remain the same. When you've got allies with you, I'd do quick ground pounds more often over perfect ones, considering you won't be at 0 or 1 lights very often. Mega Goomba's Bad Dream. Take the apples from Sleepy Mega Goomba. Carry the apples to the box. You can carry up to 3 apples. You'll move slower with each one you've got in your basket, which makes it difficult to dodge the Goombas moving along the path. Touch one and you'll lose a point, but you will keep all the apples you've got in your basket. This first phase has 3 Goombas walking along dirt paths, stopping and starting occasionally, but then there's this 4th Goomba who's got a free spirit and loves just wandering around and targeting anyone close to him. Do not engage. When the minigame begins, head straight up, grab 3 apples, then start heading down. Your slow speed might scare you, but these Goombas are easy to deal with so long as the harbinger of death is avoided. Once the basket at the bottom has 25 apples, which you can check in the top right corner, the Mega Goomba will wake up. At this point, 2 more monsters, as in free-roaming Goombas, will join in for a total of 3 of these guys. All 6 Goombas on the field will now be moving quicker, and the Mega Goomba at the top will target players close by and do a hop attack, dealing 1 damage but no fruits lost. Do not challenge this attack. It has more range than you think. Due to how much more difficult the field has gotten in general, opt in for 2 fruits at a time instead of 3 so you have enough speed to avoid the wanderers. The person that fills the bar to 50 fruits at the end gets 3 bonus points, and since it's very clear how many points the bar is at all times, you can wait until it's within reach to get the bonus for yourself. Mega Monty Moles in the hole.
También me ha pasado esto.
Beat Mega Monty Mole. Whack the one true Mega Monty Mole. Each whack is worth 2 points, and you can do as many as you want until the real Monty goes back down. So be merciless. If you're too close to a fake Monty's explosion, then you'll get knocked for a few seconds and lose a point. This can happen either by someone hitting it, or if a few seconds go by without anyone hitting it. Recognize that the fake ones are shinier and have an obvious fuse on top of their heads. At the beginning, there will be two Monty Moles to look between, a real and a fake. But as it progresses, more fakes will pop up, even in the first phase. When the second phase starts up, even more fake Monty Moles will be present. If you have a considerable point lead in the middle of the game, then try sticking with the crowd. If they're right, then you'll gain points with them, keeping your lead. And if they're wrong, then everyone gains points, still keeping your lead. If you're far behind in points though, then consider sticking close to a rumbling hole for a chance at it being the real one and racking up a bunch of points before the others get there. The last hit earns you 3 points, which is way too hard to aim for and not
Da muy poco.
even worth it, since a measly 2 hits gets you more. You can hit players for a stun too, which is nice in preventing someone from victory.
Let your body free. I see the different faces in every kind of space.
PD Piranha's Shell Smackdown. Beat PD Piranha. Grab and throw those shells. Each shell that hits PD earns you a point. You can only hit him when he's on the ground, which sucks because he likes jumping a lot. His single jump ain't a big deal, you can stick close to him and throw a shell without worry. Thing is, he can do a double jump occasionally, where upon landing you're at a much larger risk of getting knocked. The instant you see that second hop, book it out of there, because if you touch PD at any point, you'll lose a point. Funny enough, despite other players' shells able to knock you back, you won't lose a point, but will get stunned for a little bit. This also goes for PD's spin attack, which returns shells back to sender. A shell thrown straight at another shell will continue on its path, but the knocked shell will move in the direction you expect. So if you manage to line up your shot, you can actually get multiple hits in for multiple points at once. Only go for this if your shot, you can actually get multiple hits in for multiple points at once. Only go for this if you're already close to a lineup. Otherwise, PD will move away before you get the chance, or a player's gonna throw something into you, just a bunch of chaos. Each time PD slams the ground, look out for shadows on the floor to tell where new shells will fall. When he reaches half health, he'll do a spin attack and jump around more often. This is also when large green shells drop down, giving you 2 points a hit and are much more worth going for instead of the smaller ones. Whoever deals the final blow earns 3 bonus points. Coin Chaos Minigames. These are only found in Coinathon mode. They are all single-player minigames where you try to collect as many coins as possible to further yourself on the course. Their strategies will be a little simpler considering that other players are not involved. They can use items on you in this mode, which might mess with your timing a little, but I trust you to adapt to these little hiccups along the way. Occasionally, you'll see red coins, which are worth 3 regular coins. Each minigame has 3 levels that progress in difficulty as you progress through the Coinathon course. If you're playing well, then it's unlikely you'll get to level 3 for each minigame before you reach the finish line. For this reason, some of the level 3 footage you'll see here is taken from free play instead, which doesn't have interference from other players. Cheap Cheap Reach. Grab the Cheap Cheeps. You hold A to grow your glove and release it to cast. Once it reaches max size, it will immediately shrink to the smallest size over and over, so you want to release right before it gets to max to keep yourself from doing tiny casts. Cheap Cheeps are worth 1 point, and Goldens are worth 10. Yeah, you heard me, 10. Sure, they move a little faster than regular ones, but they're larger too. Go for them. Cheap Cheeps will often start out moving in straight lines, but their behavior will change when coming across another Cheap Cheep, grouping up into a nice big clump for you to grab. What you really want to avoid is accidentally touching an urchin. These grant no points and will stun you for a few seconds, even if your glove so much as grazes one, so make sure your crosshair is out of its way. Level 2 introduces red coins and bubbles, which are only worth grabbing if no clumps or Goldens are on screen. Level 3 amps up the chaos on screen, but don't get distracted, your goal remains the same. Goldens first, big clumps second, red coins third, and get any item boxes within clumps as well. Conveyor Meltdown. Sort the mushrooms. Holding a direction will cause all conveyor belts to roll in that direction. If you sort a mushroom or golden mushroom into the wrong pipe, then everything will freeze for a second, then continue as normal. Red coins and item boxes can be sorted into either pipe without worry. Each next level has more overall mushrooms and red coins appearing, not really altering the game much other than attempting to overwhelm you with visual clutter. The key here is always holding A so they go at max speed and focusing, knowing when to give up and take a hit. Most of the time you'll have fun switching back and forth forth, quickly sorting where each mushroom should go, but sometimes two shrooms will be in sync and you'll want one to slightly go over the edge without the other one going over. You need to recognize when situations like these are lost, and just let the mushroom fall into the wrong pipe so you can move on without wasting time. Obviously, sort the golden one correctly instead of a normal one if that's what you're stuck with. Goomba Gold Rush. Shoot the enemies. Each Goomba's worth 1 coin. They'll come out in lines, moving in many different patterns, which are easy to recognize since they often repeat over and over, like these ones where they do squiggly lines again and again. Other ones have them walking in wide arcs to one side and back again, which are easy to spot once you see the beginning as well. You have an infinite amount of ammo. You do not get punished for missed shots, and there is no bonus for clearing out a group of Goombas, so your aim is to fire away at the largest group of Goombas on your screen whenever possible. You can hold down the A button to repeatedly fire, but you'll go faster if you just mash the A button instead. Then we've got bombs. These occasionally appear in place of a Goomba. Hit one and its explosion will wipe out all Goombas in its radius for a nice chunk of coins. They're target number 1 aside from the item boxes that you'll see floating by. Level 2 has red coins popping up and somehow moving the same way the Goombas do. Are they being held? Controlled? Have a mind of their own? I'm not sure, but they're 3 coins each, and yes, bomb explosions collect them too. Level 3 has even more red coins than before, and everything amps up in speed. You likely won't get everything here, which is normal. Prioritize bombs, item boxes, and large clumps of Goombas. Do not chase lone ones that get away. Focus on the next batch. When you hit multiple targets in a row, like say 3 Goombas, it'll do +1, +2, +3 points. This is just it counting up by 1. Again, there are no bonus points awarded for getting multiple shots in a row. House of Boos. Collect the coins. The layout is the same every time, but everything else like coins and ghosts do as they please. There are boos and peepas. Boos follow you when you're not looking at them. They'll move directly towards you, phasing through walls like they aren't even there. But look at one in the eye, they'll get shy and stop moving. Peepas will move around the maze without phasing through walls at all. They do not chase, only meander around for fun. If you touch either a boo or a peepa, then you'll get slowly taken to the middle of the maze, wasting you time. This happens even if you touch a shy boo. Watch where lines of coins spawn, then dart there in the shortest path while avoiding the ghosts. Be very careful to not let a boo block off your exit points by rounding corners quickly. Getting a red coin item will cause a line of them to show up in the middle. Another red coin item will throw in another set and so on until they're collected. Red coins in general are your main targets due to their value. This is true in level 2 when they begin appearing in coin lines, and doubly true when swaths of them show up in level 3. These levels increase the amount of ghosts present, requiring even better dodging skills, but I trust that you can get through it. Leafboard Horde. Collect the coins. This one's pretty controls based. We're just seeing gameplay won't be enough, but there are some pointers here. For one, even slightly turning will cause you to go far, so you want to get a good handle on tap turning so you don't overdo it. This course will always be a half-pipe shape, so you'll end up falling back down to the middle if you don't make adjustments. Coins will be easy lines for you to follow, but then we've got wigglers and thorny flowers. Touch either of them anywhere and you'll wipe out for a couple seconds in the direction you were moving, wasting you time. Cannons that connect between sections just suck you in, so no worries about falling. Aim for the cannon that has the highest number of coins in its shooting path. Levels 2 and 3 contain red coins and increasingly amp up the amount of obstacles and have faster wigglers as identified by them being angry. Your stun time will be the same though when touching one. Item boxes are a little iffy to grab here since they might be away from a lane of coins. I'd still go for them more often than not unless I'd miss out on a ton of red coins. One Stop Toad Shop. Deliver the items. There are 5 items that can go on your plate. Mushroom, Super Leaf, Super Acorn, Fire Flower, and Ice Flower. You can hold up to 3 items. Toads will pop in at the bottom requesting an item. You go up to one and press A to deliver. You do not have to have only the requested item on your plate. You can have multiple, and so long as their item is there, you'll only deliver that one. This is great to keep in mind as you quickly alternate between the items above and deliver between the toads on the bottom. Important note is that each toad, after signifying what they want, will have the amount of coins they'll pay you above their heads. This amount will slowly deplete the longer you take. Prioritize delivering items to the toads with higher amounts or red coins that you'll often see in level 2. It's also here where toads will often ask you for 2 items instead of 1, requiring you to be way more on your feet as you grab more items. Level 3 is similar, but more toads will be handing off red coins. Item boxes will simply spawn in your path and are easier than ever to collect. Do not skimp out on them. Pinball Brawl. Flick the shells. The pinball controls here respond how you'd expect, which just leaves you to aim for the right things on the board. Top priority? Hit the Koopa Troopa. It'll give you another shell to cause chaos with. Multiple of these can collide with the coin bumpers, which will fling out lots of coins. Hitting a Goomba will grant you some coins too, but the most important piece here is the question mark bumper in the back middle. Hit it and the slots in the middle will start rolling, spawning whichever enemy shows up 3 times in a row, if any. Hammer Bro will spawn in the back and throw his hammers at the coin bumpers for more coins in the field. Lakitu will just throw coins willy-nilly on the machine. Shy Guy will appear and just stand there, I guess, earning you 2 red coins when hit. There are no downsides to any of these slot machine results, so you should always be aiming to hit it in the back so long as you've already gotten an extra shell from the Koopa Troopa. Level 2 will have another Koopa appear, earning you even more with triple shell chaos. Red coins appear here too, but keep your gold down the middle the same whenever it's not rolling. Level 3 has spines appear, which walk around a bit and earn you 3 red coins when hit. More importantly, this is the level where your safety warp pipes on each side can now be hit by a shell and go away, causing you to lose shells more easily. Should you lose an extra shell, it's now gone, unfortunately, but if you lose your last shell, then a new one will pop out good as new from the middle. Keep as many shells in play as possible to chain together the slots a bunch of times as you inflict absolute chaos on this machine. Rolling Rumble, knock down your foes. So I heard you like bumper balls. Well, I've made them faster and bumpier. The controls say press and hold A to build momentum, but seriously, even holding for a tiny bit and releasing sends you flying. I borderline wonder if the devs even intended this. Regardless, your goal is simple. Knock off everyone around you as quickly as possible. Shy Guys on small balls are worth 1 coin, and Shy Guys on larger balls are worth 5 coins. Definitely big targets. Literally. Level 2 introduces Koopa Troopas on red coin balls along with more Shy Guys, and level 3 has even more of everyone appear too. Item boxes are retrieved by knocking the Koopa on them off too. Everything is solvable with bumper balls here. This is awesome. Obstacles? Things to harm you? Yeah, yourself. If you get too speedy, you can fly right off. But funny enough, if you start charging your roll in the opposite direction right before reaching the edge, you'll surprisingly catch yourself. This doesn't work if you're too close to the edge, but it's a good habit to build when bumping around like crazy. Should you fall, you'll waste a bit of time, so keep steady and aim for your targets like a missile. Samurai Smackdown. Bash the baddies. You need to move to the right to make progress. As you do, enemies will appear from the right and the left, either high or low. A does a high attack and B does a low attack. Do a wrong attack and the enemy will get by and stun you for a little bit. All enemies disappear during this but will reappear soon after. Level 1 only has swoops and Goombrats spawning. Swoops always go high, whereas Goombrats are always low, making it really easy to know which attack you need to do. Level 2 spawns bullet bills occasionally, which can either be high or low, leaving you to recognize their heights instead of memorizing what enemy they are like with the swoops and Goombrats. Level 3 simply spawns more bullet bills to force you to recognize height differences even more than before. Now, clearly, each enemy does say which button you need to hit them, but when it gets this fast, you'll usually want to rely more on quick height placement instead. As said before, moving right gives progress, but not if you haven't cleared out each enemy. So if an enemy from the left is approaching, you can't keep walking right expecting more to pop up. You have to go back and deal with them first. Item boxes that appear do not have to be swung at to retrieve them. Just walking into them will do the trick. Any red coins that drop down can technically be skipped by moving to the right, but you should collect them for obvious reasons. Silver lining, collect the coins. The layout is the same every time. Hit the jump button as you bounce on a cloud to gain enough height to go higher.
Este no me sé también por alguna razón.
As you collect coins, a flying chest will float on by. Hit it from below to release a whole bunch of coins. Item boxes will appear near the bottom of the arena, which are great to grab too. The key thing to know here is that once all of the base layouts coins are collected, not counting treasure chest coins or item box coins, then the layouts coins will reset for you to grab even more. So if you've collected all the base coins except for one and you're wondering where all the coins are, it's because you've got to get everything for a fresh reset. which is why I recommend clearing out these coins from bottom to top so long as you're quick about it and you can clear everything in time. Level 2 introduces red coins into the mix, and level 3 introduces even more red coins, but unless you're stressed for time, you should really go for a clean sweep so you can grab big bundles once more. Steel Diver, collect the coins. I'd argue for renaming this one to Steel Floater, because there is no reason to dive deep at all. The 3 Lakitus will throw down coins for collection that sink down over time. Stay near the top and you don't have to worry about chasing after them. Yeah, they throw spiny eggs too, which stun you if touched, but this stun only lasts a second, blows up the spiny eggs around it, doesn't even cause you to sink, and any coins that touch you during your stun time will still be collected, making these obstacles nothing to fear. But what about item boxes, you say? Surely they're like hidden treasure down there. Except no, they float up to the surface for you to collect. Level 2 introduces red coins to the mix, which shouldn't change your playstyle, and level 3 simply increases the red coin amount. The only reason you should ever consider actually diving is when these red coins appear admittedly from the item box, since they'll end up a little lower. But otherwise, you're a steel floater. Get up there. Tiles and tribulations. Match 3. Ba-bombs, ba-bombs, ba-bombs. What more can I say? Okay, sure, lining up at least 3 tiles of either Koopas, Goombas, Boos, or Piranha Plants will earn you a coin for each tile cleared, but lining up 3 ba-bombs will obliterate every tile around them for a coin. That being said, doing this can be a little slow, which isn't worth it on level 1, where you can just spam rotating blocks and can get tons of combos for free without even looking for them. It's level 2 where things get tricky since red coin tiles appear, making random combos less likely. Keep going for them if you want, but if you recognize you're not getting anything, then go for the ba-bombs to shake things up. Level 3 introduces the new Buzzy Beetle tile, essentially making random spins not nearly as viable as before. Here is where ba-bombs truly shine in their ability to grant you a lot of coins and potentially spark up combos for free. Should you rely on ba-bombs and their crazy nature, know that they're most useful when exploding in the middle for the largest amount of tiles exploded. Side ba-bombs just don't have as much of an impact. Item boxes require you to line them up for the reward and should be your aim as soon as they appear.
Tiene sentido.
Bowser's Gauntlet minigames. These are only found in Coinathlon mode and appear during survival time. In each one, you play with the other players in an effort to survive Bowser's onslaught of attacks. Get knocked out and you'll get knocked back in Coinathlon as a punishment, making targeting here especially mean. Bowser's Fence Fury. Dodge Bowser's attacks. There are 6 fences for you and the other players to crawl on. Bowser will repeatedly move between fences, charging up an attack and swiping at one, knocking out any players on it. After a fence has been swiped, it'll continue swinging for a while, not letting you move on it at all, so get ready to dodge in other directions if need be. These standard attacks are nothing to fear. It's Bowser's charged up attack at the bottom of the screen you've got to look out for.
Es lo más difícil.
If he sticks his hand up, then he'll wipe out an entire column at once. If he sticks it to the side, then he'll wipe out an entire row at once. Interestingly enough, he will always attack from top to bottom when knocking a column and left to right when knocking a row, making the bottom rightish area of the fences a good spot to be in so you have more time to react wherever Bowser attacks from. Keep on the edges of fences so you can switch between them quicker. Ensure that no part of your character is on any fence Bowser strikes or you'll be sorry. And so will your foes if you get good at body blocking them from reaching a safe fence. Watch him closely and you'll have this one down. Bowser's Fire Hazard. Dodge the flames. If you touch the flames or fall, then you're out. Bowser kinda takes it easy on you for this one. It's an auto-scrolling level with a lot of platforms to walk on. The leftmost platforms will fall down, making the right area where you want to be. Random individual platforms wherever can start to drop down too though, so watch out if the one you're on becomes one of them. You should only go to the left when you need to jump over Bowser's flames. As the minigame progresses, he'll slowly switch from doing a straight row of fire to a curvy one in an effort to throw you off. Do not jump with the fire unless you want to get burned. When jumping, tapping A will not give you enough height to clear the fire. You've got to hold that button down. Jumping on players' heads does not do much of anything unless it's timed right before they need to jump, which can be difficult to accomplish. The more fun aspect is how players have large pushing hitboxes here. Look how far away I am from my foe here, yet I can push him off pretty easily. I wouldn't rely on this against great players that jump a lot, but if someone's really focused on the flames, then it can be an easy knockout for you. Bowser's Power Bomb. Dodge the bombs. Never mind explosions. If you so much as touch a bomb, then you're out. Same goes for if you fall off. Each time Bowser throws a bomb, there's a clear crosshair indicating where to avoid standing. The platform will slightly tilt in the direction of where the most players are, but this quickly gets overpowered with the explosions from the bombs that make it all tipsy-turny-like. Despite how scary this looks, you're essentially wearing sticky shoes, so never give up and stick to the platform. As the minigame progresses, Bowser will throw down the bombs more often, making things even crazier. You may consider jumping to help yourself avoid the chaos, except you can't jump here. Which means no jump kicks. How can we live in a world without jump kicks? I mean, sure we have punching, but that distance isn't enough to
No es mucho suficiente.
warrant sabotaging your foes. I'd rather focus on surviving instead. But I'd much more rather be able to jump kick. Why I can't jump kick? I can't jump kick.
No se puede y no entiendo.
Mario Party Star Rush is yet another example of an entry where I actually enjoy one of its main modes that did something different a lot, Toad Scramble, but feel like it'd be better received as a side mode in a future entry. At first, everyone taking a turn at the same time felt silly to me, but this chaotic nature of, well, scrambling around to get to certain spaces first is actually a lot of fun, and so is the fact that you can land on so many different spaces depending on how you alter your path, something that other Mario parties can only do in very specific situations. While I can't say I'm a huge fan of Balloon Bash, I do like Coin-a-thon a lot, and it's no wonder that it returned in Super Mario Party Jamboree. Goes to show that good ideas shouldn't be left behind and should be given a second chance if they really were that fun. Thanks a ton for watching. Thank you to all of the members of this channel and all that helped provide information for this video, which can be found in the description. Special shoutouts to NatNew32 and Anthony2987 for significant contributions of information about this game. Incredibly helpful. I'll see you next time when we cover Mario Party: The Top 100.
Uno de ellos se repetido. A ver qué tal. Ya voy dejando.